Hello, Internet. It is Adam Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about The King's Man, another movie that I didn't know would ever see the light of day, but here we are. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons, so let's get to it. Pros: The King's Man is a spin off of the series Kingsman. It's about to show you right here. This little franchise here started way back in the humble days of 2015 with the first movie, Kingsman: The Secret Service. Now, the first movie, no one really knew what to think of it before it came out. I mean, it was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who's made some great work. I mean, first Kick Ass, X Men First Class, great movies. But yeah, the trailers didn't look all that great for that first movie, and not to mention it was going up against a big old juggernaut, or a temporary juggernaut, in the form of 50 Shades of Grey. So yeah, it was looking a little bleak, but soon enough, people saw the movie and they really liked the movie, and that word of mouth spread throughout its opening weekend. And as a result, it had a strong opening of like 36 million against 50 Shades of Grey's like 85 million. It turned out that it was perfect counter programming for 50 Shades. 50 Shades was directed at women, this was directed at men. It all worked out. And it had really good legs, making 128 million domestic and 404 million worldwide. So who wouldn't look at that and want a franchise out of it, right? So that's great. Had great. Like, you can only go up from there, right? 2 years later, The Kingsman: The Golden Circle came out. Initially had a lot of hype. It's somewhat underwhelmed. I'll discuss that when we get to the cons, but it still made $400 million, so you can't call it a flop. So there's clearly an audience for this franchise, even though this is a spin-off. There's still an audience, and I know they've been talking about a lot about Kingsman 3 this month. The real Kingsman 3. This doesn't count because it's a spinoff, but I'll discuss about Kingsman 3 in one of the cons, because it's kind of a con against this movie. But yeah, the Kingsman franchise has made money. It's recognizable. So yeah, it's a brand name recognition. So that's pro number one. Pro number two. Oh, oh gosh. I mean, this has recognizable actors, and we got let's look at our cast here. We got Ralph Fiennes, who's like the main character, and you got Djimon Hounsou. I mean, those like the two most recognizable people in the cast. And you got Russ. I can never pronounce this dude's name right. I'm so bad at this. Yeah, this guy here. Oh yeah, he was in the Amazing Spider-Man. He was the Lizard, Doctor Kurt Connors. Wow, that's wild. And if you, well, this isn't a spoiler for No Way Home because he was in the trailer, but he was in No Way Home, so this is like super recent. Like, wow. But yeah, I mean, these actors aren't like draws necessarily, but they are recognizable for most audiences. So I would consider that a relative pro, not a complete pro, but relative pro. So that's pro number two. Are there any other pros to this? Well, it is coming out right before Christmas, and movies that come out around this time usually have pretty darn good legs because, you know, kids are out of school, people are off of work. It's perfect. And like, not this week, well, a little bit this week, but like the week after this, business is going to explode as long as nothing happens. Which I'll explain that. I'll go into depth in that more when we get to cons. But yeah, usually like the week after Christmas, immediately after Christmas, box office just explodes. Like, weekday numbers are insane. They're even bigger than weekend numbers. Like, it's some wild stuff can happen. And this movie could benefit from that, definitely. And so that's pro number three. And pro number four, when it comes to direct competition, sure it has Matrix Resurrections. But after that, I mean, I guess there's the 355, but I don't think anyone cares about that movie. and and after that, there's Scream, I guess, but that's horror. So I guess the most direct competition after Matrix would be 355, and that doesn't look particularly strong. So maybe this movie can't survive. I said maybe. I didn't say it will. All right. And I'll explain why it's a maybe when we get to cons, but yeah, direct competition wise, it's not too serious. So, yeah. I can't think of any other pros. I'm stumped. So cons. There's a lot of cons. First of all, the release date for this movie. Well, there's two things about the release date. One, this movie has been delayed for so goddamn long. Like this movie was supposed to come out in 2019, and due to both, this being a Fox, well, formerly a Fox movie, and then since Disney acquired Fox, you know, it's just been all over the place. It's been very chaotic. Had to get pushed back several times because of that. And then also the pandemic just didn't help anything. It just made things worse for the movie. I mean, for the releases for this movie, it's supposed to come out like in November 2019, then February of 2020, Valentine's Day, same day as the Sonic movie. And a lot of people, including me, assumed that's where it would land because hey, the first Kingsman opened Valentine's Day weekend, it'll be perfect. And then it got pushed back again to like September, and then COVID happened, and then it got pushed back again to like I think February, then March, then August, and now here to December. So yeah, all those delays sometimes they can do more harm than good. And in this case, for a movie that already had trailers and posters multiple times before it got delayed, yeah, it really hurts because at that point people will just stop caring. Unless it's like a big movie like a No Time to Die or something. So yeah, all those release date changes have definitely done more harm than good for this movie. So that's con number one. Con number two with the release date. Look at the movies it's going up against. Like you got on Wednesday, it's going up against Matrix Resurrections, which is direct competition if you ask me. There's Sing 2, which isn't direct, but it'll still make I imagine it'll make some cash. But then worst of them all, Spider-Man. I mean, this is Spider-Man's numbers right now. This is its Monday number. 37 million on a Monday. Third biggest ever. Like, if I were the Kingsman right now, or any movie, I would be shitting my pants in fear at this number. Because, again, this is a weekday. This is even the holidays haven't even happened yet. And it's already made like 37 million on a Monday. Like that's some insanity right there. So yeah, you gotta deal with that monster. You gotta deal with that beast. Plus everything else. This movie just feels like an afterthought when compared to other movies, like compared to Spider-Man, Matrix, and Sing 2. This is an afterthought. It just is. So yeah. That's con number two. Competition. Severe competition. Con number three. I don't know. This Christmas isn't really the time for a movie like this. I mean, like an R-rated action movie. Like how many R-rated action movies have come out during Christmas? Not too many, I imagine. I mean, I know there's several off the top of my head. There's, or at least R-rated genre movies. Uh, Darn it. Wasn't there 47 Ronin like in 2013? That was one of the biggest bombs ever. Well, I think that was PG-13. That wasn't R-rated, but still. It was a huge bomb. It was an action movie, came out Christmas, didn't work out. I think there was, well, it's not really an action movie, it's more horror, but there's Alien v Predator, AVP Requiem. There we go. That didn't do too great in 2007. There was like this Spirit in 2008 that bombed. Uh, What else? What else? What else? What else came out? I can't think of anything. Mainly because they don't release movies like this. I guess we can count Assassin's Creed. Yeah, it was PG-13, but it's kind of in the same vein as this. That did terrible around Christmas. That had to deal with Rogue One and Sing. Like, yikes. And I guess Point Break would count too. That from 2015. I don't think anyone remembers that movie at all. But that did terrible too. And this feels like it's in the same vein, the same bubble. That's terrible. You do not want to be in company with those movies ever. So, yeah, like the release date, it just feels. I don't think it's right for a movie like this. It probably would have benefited if it came out in February of 2020. That probably would have been its best chance at success. But they didn't take it. So they pretty much screwed themselves over. So, yeah, like the type of movie that it is and the release date just not meshing. That's another con. Con number three. Con number four, the reviews. They're not good. Last I checked, it was like in the high 40s, which isn't the worst, but it's nothing. It's not the type of score you look at and you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see that. Yeah, it's just not good. So yeah, reviews are not going to help this movie at all. So that's another con. That's con number four, I think. Con number five, going back to Kingsman and the franchise. Yeah, first Kingsman Secret Service did great. People loved it, made money, all is right. Then with the sequel, it was a bit of an underperformer, mainly because it wasn't very good. I mean, I saw it once and I was just so I don't even remember it. Like I remember the first Kingsman perfectly, but Kingsman 2, I got nothing. I don't remember liking it very much. I saw it as like a big old. It just felt. It just wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. And domestically, it was a bit worse than its predecessor. Worldwide, it was about the same, but I think the lackluster reception of the Golden Circle. I think it did some damage to the brand. Definitely did, for me at least. In my eyes, because after the second one, I wasn't interested in Kingsman anymore, unless they were going to course correct with the third movie. The Kingsman is not going to course correct at all. And I feel, this is just a theory I have, but the reason why they're talking so much about Kingsman 3 now when they didn't do it before is I feel like they're doing that to get the attention off of this, because I guess Disney, 20th Century Studios, whatever. They saw this movie as a liability. They didn't think it was very good, so they're just like, just shove it out there and let's talk up Kingsman 3. That way people are still interested in this series. That's what I think is happening. I mean, it's very possible. So, yeah, like the franchise is not in a great place right now, so I would consider that a con. Another con I have. I mean, the advertising, it's there, but it's nothing like substantial. It's not like, well, why would they spend a whole lot of money on this? Like, I don't. Why? That'd be kind of a waste. But they already spent money on it for release dates that were never going to happen. So they've already burned quite a bit of cash on this. So why would they spend any more? But I mean, I've seen ads on YouTube. I mean, just better than nothing. But yeah, it's just kind of like whatever. So I consider that a con, just like a somewhat lackluster ad campaign. And another con I can think of, R-rated movies in general this year haven't done too great. I think the biggest one right now has been Halloween Kills. That's only made like 92 million domestic. So yeah. I mean, R-rated action movies have done okay ish. I mean, Nobody did fine. Wrath of Man did fine. The Suicide Squad tanked, which will always depress me. But after that, we haven't really had anything at that point. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, I feel like that the type of movie this is, release date just don't mash up very well. So that's a con. I guess last con, the cast. I did say they're recognizable. That doesn't mean they're draws though. That doesn't mean they're gonna put butts in seats. So yeah, that's another con right there. I I can't think of anything else really. I think that's it. Something might pop up later, but yeah, I think that's it. Opening weekend. This is challenging for several reasons. One, it's opening on a Wednesday, and two, Friday is Christmas Eve, and that's a death sentence for any movie, even Spider-Man. So that's going to be a little challenging. I mean, the numbers here is compared to the New Mutants, which seems fair. I mean, both movies were delayed indefinitely before they came out. I think there was a 2 year gap between initial release date and final release date for both movies. So I think the New Mutants is kind of a perfect comparison, even though that was PG-13. This is R, but I think it's an ideal comparison. So let's look at the New Mutants. So New Mutants, it opened like right when theaters reopened last year, like last August. It opened to $7 million, made 23 million total. Ugh. Okay, I don't think Kingsman is gonna do that bad. I hope it doesn't. But I think okay, we have to do several things. We gotta do 3 day and 5 day. So for the 3 day, that Friday through Sunday, it's obviously gonna have a very weak Friday. It's gonna have a big boost Saturday, and then it'll be about the same Sunday. So I'm gonna go with 10. I think 10 is reasonable for the 3 day. I think it will at least reach double digits. It should. If it doesn't, that'd be truly embarrassing. But yeah, 10 million for the 3 day. For the 5 day, I'm just gonna wing it here because I have no idea. Um, maybe 15 million, give or take a couple million, either above or below that. I'm gonna go with 15 million. I don't think it's gonna do as bad as say a Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I don't think it will do that horrific. But I mean it's possible. But yeah, I'm gonna be a little optimistic here and say, oh yeah, well there is the Omicron variant going around. It's been spreading quite rapidly. Uh I mean it's not hurting Spider-Man all that much, so I don't see why this movie would get hurt as much. So I mean, plus this goes after like that 18 to 34-year-old demographic. That's the demographic that's been going to the movies the most, really. So I don't think it'll hurt it that much. I mean, this movie was kind of screwed from the get-go, variant or not. So I don't think it even matters here. But I'm gonna go with 15 million for the 5 day weekend. Maybe a little more, but I'm gonna go with 15 just to be a pessimistic. And then its total. Christmas movies can have really long legs. I don't think this is going to be one of them. But I think its legs will be better than average for this type of movie. So I'm going to go with 40 to 50 million final total, somewhere in that range. I don't even know about overseas. It's probably best I don't even discuss that. But yeah, 40 to 50 million total, which would no doubt be the worst of the franchise. So they better hope Kingsman 3 is a smash hit. Otherwise, this series is dead. So, yeah, that's the Kingsman. Now, next, a movie I already mentioned, The Matrix Resurrections. And then after that, Sing 2. And then I guess after that, The Tender Bar, because apparently it's opening wide. So I have to talk about it. So I will talk about it. And that's not it for the week. Oh no. Saturday we got American Underdog, A Journal for Jordan, and Licorice Pizza expanding wide. I'm going to be talking about those three movies on Thursday because I am not uploading anything on Christmas Eve. You can forget that. So I'm just gonna talk about those movies Thursday. So look forward to those. And then that'll be the end of the year. Yeah, like we're nearly done with 2021. We're like 10 days away from like the New Year's Eve. Yeah, New Year's Eve, but then after that, New Year's Day, we're off to 2022. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. So yeah, so yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? I got playlists on the homepage. I've covered oh, I forgot. It's how could I forget this? The 20th Century Studios movie. That's bad. There's only been two movies that have come out of the Disney Fox era that have made any sort of cash. Those two movies being Ford v Ferrari and Free Guy. After that, it's just been bomb, 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 bomb. Bombs everywhere. I mean, let's just look at 20th Century Studios now, ignoring all these, because these are like future movies. Empty Man, bomb. Last Duel, bomb. West Side Story, huge bomb. Ron's Gone Wrong, bomb. New Mutants, bomb. Call of the Wild, bomb. Although that one's a little unfair because COVID killed it before it even had a chance to do semi okay. But yeah, Free Guy, the only one that made money here. And it doesn't even count like the 2019 ones, which didn't have the 20th Century Studios treatment yet. Your Dark Phoenix, your what came after that? I think there was some really obscure ones. Stuber at Astra. Um, darn it. What? I forgot completely. Ugh, but yeah, being a 20th Century Studios movie, that's just not a good sign. And that's just another knock against this movie. That's another con. But anywho, yeah, I've covered all the 20th Century Studios movies this year. Free Guy, Last Duel, Ron's Gone Wrong, cover them. So if you want to watch my prediction videos on those, you can go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Last week I covered a bunch of movies. I don't even remember all of them. I think some of them I covered were like Operation Fortune, Black Phone, Deep Water, Marry Me. Just a few off the top of my head. With this Omicron variant, I wouldn't be surprised if there are more delays in the immediate future. I don't know about the late future, but I mean, January looks, well, I thought it was completely safe, but not anymore. But I don't think January will be too affected. I think it'll just be like temporary swaps. But, or at least like, I wouldn't say temporary, more like couple weeks instead of a couple months. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if you want to watch any of the past canceled episodes I've now made 97 episodes, like three more to 100, which scares me. But want to watch any of those, that way you're updating all these movies, where they're going, when they're coming out, what streaming platform they're going to be on. Um, you can watch all those. Go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over box office for any particular month. December recap will come out within the first week of the new year. I'm also going to do a two-part 2021 recap. I cover the theatrical side of things and the streaming side of things because that line has been blurred significantly this year. So that'll be an interesting discussion. So look forward to those three recaps coming very soon. So look forward. So you can go. And plus, if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I've done on the channel, you can go right ahead. Especially, particularly the 2021 one recap, so way you see how the year has evolved. So you want to watch any of those, go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.